here today to do another installment in my end of the year videos. This one is going to be my top 10 anticipated releases for 2020. I actually did some research into it this morning because I typically don't pay tons of attention to it, but I've actually read a lot of books this year that I really enjoyed, and I wanted to see if those authors were coming out with anything new or if those genres were having anything new, and I was not disappointed. I did narrow it down to a top 10, but there were definitely more out there that I'm waiting for. The first one is called 3 Things That I Know Are True by Betty Cully. It's a story about a teenage girl whose brother is recovering from a horrific accident, and it seems to, from her perspective, explore grief and forgiveness, which I think would be very interesting, especially when paired with a very hard-hitting contemporary topic such as things revolving around gun control. And I had never heard of this book before I found it this morning, but I'm really excited for it to come out, and I would really love to read it. The second novel that I'm waiting for is called 7 Deadly Shadows. It is co-authored by Courtney Almeida and Vaylin E. Maytani. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but those are the co-authors for it. I read the Shadow of the Fox series recently by Julie Kagawa, and this seems to be a very similar setting. It's inspired by Japanese lore. The main character is able to interact with that world, and that sets her apart a little bit, and I'm interested to see how it plays out in a more kind of low fantasy setting, which is what I think this is. I really enjoy fantasy, and I've been really discovering how much I'm enjoying fantasy based in lore outside of the stuff I grew up with. And with that said, it's no surprise that the third book I'm anticipating is the new Julie Kagawa book called Night of the Dragon. I've loved the series so far. I really love the way the lore is built in, and I love the dynamics between all the characters in the story. Although I didn't enjoy the second installment as much as I enjoyed the first, I still enjoyed it enough that I'm really looking forward to see how everything wraps up. And I'm just really attached to a lot of the characters in the novel, so I want to see where they go. My fourth book that I'm looking forward to is A Slate of Shadows by Kat Howard. I read The Unkindness of Magicians and did a full review for it. Actually, I'll include a link below and in the corner. The thing I loved about it was that the Magic Mafia feel just, for whatever reason, really struck a chord with me, and I'm interested to see how that plays out, along with a bit more world building, which I think will really cement the characters and how this whole world works. The next book in my list that I'm for my anticipated releases is An Uncanny Valley by Anna Wiener. This is a non-fiction novel about this woman's kind of career through Silicon Valley and how it lived up to and didn't live up to kind of her dreams and hopes with her career there. I've really been on a bit of a non-fiction kick lately, so I'm actually really excited to see where this goes. It's just something that caught my eye. My sixth choice is Chosen Ones by Veronica Roth. Although the ending of her Divergent series was really polarizing, I actually really enjoyed the series, so I'm excited to see how she transitions from a young adult to adult setting, and this Chosen Ones novel looks like it'll be very interesting. The big thing is that it's following a group of characters 10 years after they saved the world. It's kind of looking at the fallout of their decisions and how they're living their lives now that they've kind of reached the peak of their potential, so to speak. And sounds really intriguing, and I did enjoy the Divergent series, so I'm really excited to see how Veronica Roth's writing transitions. The seventh book on my list is The Glass Hotel. It's by Emily St. John Mandel. She also wrote, I think, another novel that came out earlier this year. I can't remember the name, but it went over really well. It sounds very interesting. It includes white-collar crimes, money, moral compromising, and it just was this nice combination of things that sound like it could be something I'd be very interested in, and I'd love to give it a chance, especially when her first novel went over so well. The eighth novel I'm excited for is The Iron Season by Helene Wecker. I listened to the audiobook for The Genie and the Golem earlier this year and adored it. It was honestly one of my more surprising reads this year. I wasn't going into it entirely expecting to enjoy it, but I loved it, especially with the narrators for the audiobook. And just with how much I loved that book, I'm really excited to see what the second installment is going to be. You're following the same characters, and it's looking more at what their lives have become approaching World War I, and how that's going to be kind of changing their world in both the supernatural and normal sense, I guess. If it stays in touch with the first book, it's just going to be a really good mix of historical fiction and fantasy, which is something I really love when it's done well. Ninth book is Devolution, or De-Evolution, however you want to say it. It's by Max Brooks. World War Z, written by him, is probably one of my favorite books. And this one I think I'll enjoy as well. It sounds like it's going to be written in the same kind of style, in that kind of like interview or entry-based formatting. This book, however, is about this woman's kind of interactions with Sasquatch. It refers to a specific kind of massacre, so I'm really interested to see how it goes. Max Brooks does such a good job of creating a specific tone or atmosphere with his writing, especially doing it in these interview or entry style formatting, so I'm excited to see what he does here. And with how much I loved World War Z, like I said, it's one of my favorite books of all time. I'm really excited to see what he does here. And then the final entry on my top 10 most anticipated releases is The Glass Magician. The book is by Carolyn Stevermer. I'm not sure how to say that. And it seems to be about a world where there's kind of elitist magic versus not elitist magic. The elite do a very specific kind of magic, and the main character that we're going to follow does a different kind of magic. And although it's not considered elite or high class in the way the other is, she is really making a name for herself and kind of rising to fame doing what she's doing, except that ends up pulling her into a world of kind of intrigue and danger. So I'm excited to see that one, just because, again, it looks like it'll be a mix of historical fiction and fantasy, which I do enjoy, especially if it's done well. So I'm excited to see how the author deals with it here. While those aren't all of my top 10 anticipated releases for 2020, they are in my top 10. Let me know below if any of those are ones you guys are also looking forward to, or ones you're not looking forward to, and we can discuss everything surrounding that. And otherwise, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!